Welcome to We Are Introverts channel. Today we bring 5 life-changing books that every introvert should read. 1. Quiet Power of Introverts in the World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. This book is an absolute must-read on the topic of introversion. Susan Cain dives deep in the history of personality in the United States to figure out how and when extroversion became the cultural ideal. Cain digs through scientific facts to show and clarify the biology of introversion. Then she recommends a clear path forward guide to introverts trying to figure out how to live, love, parent, and work in this culture and society that favors extroverts. If you prefer to listen than talk, don't like to be the center of attention and prefer to work alone than in groups, you probably are an introvert. At least 1 in 3 Americans is an introvert. She explains the challenges and advantages of being an introvert, gives valuable tips on how to behave in certain situations, and how to raise introverted children. Using the result of several types of research on the subject, Cain was seeking ways to assist introverts to understand why they see the world differently. If you are an introvert or no one, this book will give you a clear understanding and tools you can use to get much more out of social, professional, and relationships daily life. 2. The Awakened Introvert by Arnie Kozak. This book is a goldmine filled with authentic techniques and knowledge that introverts can use to harness their special strengths and cut down on their weaknesses by using mindfulness meditations and cognitive behavioral tricks and techniques from Eastern meditation culture, not that Buddha himself was likely an introvert. The most fascinating points in this book are, for example, chapters on handling, mastering and celebrating your solitude, how to practice self-care in a busy world, and last but not least how you can become a master social domain. 3. Introverted Leaders by Jennifer B. Kahnweiler. In this book, Jennifer explains how using 4Ps process can be useful for every introvert who wants to become a great leader and stay true to who you are as an introvert. Here's a brief summary of 4Ps process. Preparation is self-explanatory and is useful for freeing up your mental energy for the next one. Presence. Presence is really about overcoming the incorrect impressions people can have about introverts, not concentrating, sullen, slow thinking, acting out. Presence involves speaking up sooner than you normally would in a meeting. It involves really focusing on people when you are talking with them. You're there, you're engaged, and involved just as much as anyone else. Push, for me, is perhaps the most notable. It ties back to my earlier observation about experiencing a high degree of inertia when faced with situations like networking evenings. Push is overcoming that inertia through willpower. I make networking a game. I get hold of an attendee list, work out who I want to meet, and then set myself the task of ticking those people off the list by having a conversation that we will both remember well enough for me to reference when I follow up with them. The practice is pretty obvious. I find my career gives me plenty of this, but joining something like Toastmasters might be a worthwhile activity. Push and practice go hand in hand. The author presents many examples of how to apply these 4Ps across a range of topics, from public speaking to managing up, to project management, and several others. Some of these are useful examples, but I felt towards the end that this felt a bit repetitive. The changes from managing or leading teams, to heading up projects, for example, seemed like fairly straightforward steps, and perhaps the 2 chapters could have been rolled into one. 4. Quiet Influence by Jennifer B. Kahnweiler. A lot of people think effective influencers should always be vocal and engaged in every single social activity because the more you're seen and heard, the better chance you can influence people. It's true that type of personality people are more visible, but that doesn't mean they're always effective influencers. In fact, many introverted individuals and business leaders in various industries are excellent influencers. Those are called quiet influencers, such as Tim Cook, Apple's CEO. Introverts can be highly effective influencers when they stop trying to act like extroverts and instead make the most of their natural, quiet strengths. 6 Strengths of Quiet Influencers. Taking quiet time, the periods of solitude that introverts crave provide them with a powerful source of creativity and self-awareness. Preparation, careful preparation, which makes introverts feel more comfortable, also makes them very knowledgeable and able to anticipate objections. Writing, introverts' preference for writing over speaking enables them to influence others through deep, authentic, well-developed arguments. Engaged listening, introverts are great listeners, they'd rather listen than talk, which is a crucial skill for establishing rapport and mutual understanding. Focused conversation, introverts don't like small talk, but they excel at the serious, purpose-driven, one-on-one interactions vital for winning people over. Thoughtful use of social media. Oversharing doesn't appeal to introverts online any more than it does offline, so they naturally use social media in a thoughtful and more effective way. Kahnweiler also includes the self-assessment tool, Quiet Influence Quotient, QIQ, to help you see how you score on your 6 strengths and how to avoid underusing them. Any excessive use of those strengths will hinder your ability to influence people. The author claimed to be an extrovert and wrote this book based on observations and researches. Nevertheless, I think this book has many valid points and it is still helpful for introverts who have not found their ways to be a good influencer or for extroverts who want to learn different ways to influence people. 5. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Author Jen Sincero was once unimpressed with her life. Though she was a published author and had family and friends, she wondered, is this the best I can do? She embarked on an exhaustive self-improvement journey and found success. She was able to get herself out of a rut and find greater personal and professional success. After wading through all the good and bad of the self-help world, she decided to take every bit of useful self-improvement advice she found and share it with others via this book. The main principle she learned is that creating a better life requires only one simple shift, going from wanting to change your life to deciding to change your life. In You Are a Badass, she shares wisdom about creating a new life, doing things you never thought you'd do, believing in things you can't see, and pushing past your fears. The book has 5 sections. How did I get this way? Learn what's holding you back. How to leave insecurity behind and love yourself. Live your best life. Tapping into the source. Be a part of the power all around you. Getting over your own BS. Make changes to create a life you've always wanted. Go forth and live your dreams. Take action as you live your new life. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you like it and subscribe to our channel. Stay in touch.